Depreciation. In this case, it's for tax purposes. Since it's the resale value on it, it's just the amount of money that they can claim as far as the value. So it's starting at $34,000. So the same as we did a while ago. When you first purchases it, how much is it worth? $34,000. You haven't even driven it off the lot. Okay, $34,000. But 1 year later, it's not going to be worth quite as much. Right? And they say here they can decrease it by 30%. Well, think about what we talked about before. We have our principal amount that we're going to start with. And we want to keep that as a beginning starting point. But then we're going to take away the extra value. So if I take that away, how do we write 30% as a decimal? 0.3 or 0.30 if you want to put the 0. And it's only 1 year. We can either put the 1 or we can leave it off because 1 is not going to make a difference. So set the calculator the same as you did before. What's it worth after 1 year? 23,800. And Hannah, what did you find? Okay, she found the decrease. If you subtract between these, it decreased $10,200 is the amount of decrease that they can claim. And be sure you know, I think we had one of the questions like this that was talking about what was the decrease. So don't work the problem and put the wrong one. Is it asking for the value or is it asking for how much did it go down? Read it very carefully. Okay, so after 2 years, what's going to change in the formula that we used above and this one? I have to put a 2. Now I do have to write it because squared makes a difference. So it's the same idea, but we want it squared. So what's our value? 60. Right, 16,660. And if we subtract between these two, then we only get 11,662. Why is that a lower amount than it decreased? No, we don't. Sorry.
No, you get 7.
Skip the line. We get 7,140. How come this is a less value than what it was the first year? Right, because I started with 23,000 value instead of 34,000. So when you start with the less value, 30% of that is a decrease. So the value of the truck was lower. Okay, let's try this one more time for 3. I do want you writing your formula each time on your practice paper and stuff so that if you miss a decimal somewhere or an exponent or if you have plus instead of minus, I can see what the problem is. Yeah, this one should be our 11,662. So if we subtract between the 16,660 and 11,662, what's our difference? There you go. 4,998. So when it says which equation, this means if we simplify it, the only thing that we're changing is what? Yes, for the years. So this is staying the same for this problem, and we're simply changing the years. Now on the last one with interest, we said it was increasing each time. your table. What is happening between these values each time? And what are they decreasing by? Divide 23,800 by 34,000. Okay. What do we get? What is that in 8%? And how is that related to the problem that we just were talking about? Money. It is money. But what did we use in our equation? That was 30%. So think about it in terms of a discount. Okay, if they did not pay 30%, they did pay 70%. We could think about this when we do any type of discount. If you have something that is 20% off, you can calculate 20% of the item, you can subtract it, and then see what you have. Or, if you're not paying 20%, you're paying 80%. So basically what this means here is that each year, the value, we'll just put the money, is 70% of the previous year. Okay? So, each year is 70% of what you had before. You can go through this every time. Okay, you get the same answer. But, we need to remember that taxes and interest add to over 100%, like the 1.04. This is going to be less than 100% because it's decreasing. So it's whatever the discount is, the other part of that percent that makes up 100 is how you find your answer. This says that businesses have a salvage value, which the value cannot go below. For this truck, it's $2,000. How long will it be before it reaches this value? Okay, well, in your calculator, put this formula in right here. Under y equals. Look at your table. You notice these are the same values that we got on our table. 22,800, 16,660, 1162, 662, it continues to go down. This is the value of the truck. It wants to know after how long, or how long is it going to take before it gets down to 2,000. Okay, it looks like really close to 8 years. Somewhere right in here. If we need to know that exactly, we can look at the tape, we can look at our graph. Well, 34,000 is a pretty big number. You're not going to be able to see that stuff on your graph. But this narrows it down for us a little bit. So if I'm looking for somewhere in this range at 7 or 8, I can go to my window here. So, okay, I only need from, say, 0 to 10. So I'm looking at about 8. And it needs to be a little more than 2,000 because I'm looking for that particular amount. And so then I can look at my graph. If we trace, I'm wanting this value of the truck, our Y value, to be 2,000. So right here, in 2051 at 7.8, 7.9. So if we needed an exact value, we can use our table to narrow down our window, and then we could come and say that we have after 7.8 years, or you could say this whole thing means approximately 8 years. But we use our table with that equation to find out those values.